Hola a todos, bienvenidos. Bienvenidos a nuestro tercer Business Innovation International Summit. Bienvenidos de los diferentes países en donde se están conectando en este momento. Nosotros estamos muy emocionados de arrancar con esta cumbre de negocios por tercer año consecutivo. Así que, pues, bienvenidos sean todos. Como ustedes saben, nuestra agenda el día de hoy vamos a dar inicio hablando de la transformación tecnológica y digital de India. Así que para nosotros, pues es un honor contar con la participación y abriendo nuestro tercer Business Innovation International Summit con el embajador, el señor embajador de India en Guatemala, B.S. Mubarak. India tiene la mayor participación de mercado en la industria de abastecimiento de servicios globales de tecnología. Este país se ha transformado en una economía digital con más de 800 millones de suscriptores de Internet. India es uno de los destinos preferidos cuando se trata de establecer centros de capacidad e innovaciones globales. Así que tenemos el día de hoy la presencia del señor embajador de India en Guatemala, B.S. Mubarak. El señor embajador B.S. Mubarak asumió este cargo en Guatemala en diciembre de 2018. Él tiene una carrera de diplomático y se incorporó al servicio exterior de la India en el 2001 con experiencia trabajando en el Cairo, Dubái. Fue director y luego subsecretario de la División Sur del Ministerio de Relaciones Exteriores en Nueva Delhi. Es importante recordarles a toda nuestra audiencia que esta es la única charla que nosotros tendremos en inglés. Así que cualquier duda, también cualquier pregunta que ustedes tengan al finalizar la charla, la estaremos abordando con el señor embajador. Mr. Ambassador, B.S. Mubarak, for us it's a pleasure to have you here. Hello.
Thank you very much for inviting. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure for us to have you here and to have you as the first conference that we have in our Business Innovation International Summit. So the time is yours and let's begin.
Thank you very much. I have a presentation to make. I will start that presentation in a few minutes. Before that, let me thank ESI School of Management for inviting me for this event. And it's a real honor and pleasure for me to participate at this event. It is, in fact, whenever you participate or interact with students and universities, it makes you feel young. And it is one of my I really relish participating and interacting with the students. Thank you very much. As we have this presentation, India is celebrating 75 years of its independence. And so is Guatemala, which is celebrating 200 years of its independence. So it's a great synergy and something that we are celebrating jointly. And I think it is very appropriate that we have these events to start with India. So this also signifies the importance that ESA attaches to India. So thank you very much. So I will start the presentation. My presentation is Digital and Technological Transformation in India. But I would also use this opportunity to give some glimpses about what 21st century India is all about. So I would request my colleague to update the presentation or upload the presentation. And let me start the presentation. Okay, so as I said, the presentation is Digital and Technological Transformation of India. So let me start with the first slide. So like I said, India got independence in the year 1947, and we are celebrating the 75th anniversary, though we have completed 73 years, and we are in the 74th year, and we would be celebrating 75 years of India's independence. So we are a very young nation, even compared to countries in the region, like in Central America. Say for Guatemala, we are only 75 years old, while Guatemala is 200 years old. However, our civilization dates back to 5,000 years, more than 5,000 years. Like the Indus Valley civilization, like the Mayan civilization, is a very old civilization and is a deep rooted civilization. So, like I said, while we are an young nation, we are a very old civilization. Let me go to the next slide. India is a very diverse country. Like we have 22 official languages and 122 minor languages. We are 1.3 billion plus people. We speak more than 13,000 dialects. So altogether, if you see, we are like 1/6 of humanity. So I always tell business students that this 21st century is an Asian century. Every economic growth, the population centers, and the market basically lies in Asia. And when you speak about Asia, you really cannot ignore India. India is a major part of Asia, and India's development in that region is very important for everybody to know, especially business students to know. Uh, Next slide, please. So again, coming to how well informed India is, we have 70,000 newspapers in India published every day. Like say Presentado, El Periodico, you have 70,000 newspapers, and we have 1,600 satellite channels in India. So every day, 100 million copies of newspapers are sold. This is to give a glimpse of how informed the country is and how we are well integrated with the information that is going around the world. Again, it is very important for democracies to understand that India is the largest democracy in the world. And it is very important to understand this because for democracies to thrive, it is very important to understand India. We had our elections in 2019, and we had 900 million voters, registered voters. If you take that number, it is more than the combined population of European Union and US together. So it is a huge country, and it is the world's largest democracy, which has to be reckoned with. Again, India's electoral mechanism is one of the, of course, being the largest democracy, our electoral mechanism is also the largest in the world. We have 1 million polling booths across the world, across India when we had our elections in 2019. And we had 10 million election officials who were handling the elections. So it is that huge. But the more important part is India's elections are completely integrated with technology. It's all, nobody uses any paper for elections. It is all done through electronic voting machines. And when we start counting, the election results come in a day. It is instantly generated. It is like within few hours of the counting, we will know the results just because of the technology that has been inbuilt in the election process. Again, we are a very young nation. Like I was saying, though we are the largest democracy, when you consider it from the manpower point of view, from the human resources point of view, we are a very young nation, and we have 650 million people who are under the age of 25. So this also puts India at a very advantageous place when it comes to human resources. Can we go to the next? Again, as I said, we have a very large workforce. Some of the major IT companies of the world, like Tata Consultancy Services, Infosys, Wipro, are all Indian companies. We have 10,000 engineering universities. We call it colleges in India, but here the parlance is universities. And we produce 25% of the total world engineers. So again, we have a very large manpower which are skilled and educated and well qualified and technically qualified. And this helps India to poise itself in a very advantageous position. Next. And to give you, some idea about Indian movie industry, we are the largest, what we call as Bollywood. which is developed from Bombay, is the largest movie industry in the world. We produce 1,200 movies in a year, and though it may mainly be in Hindi, but also in different other regional languages also. And we are the largest producer of movies. This is another very important information which I would like to share with your participants, that India has the largest number of diaspora population in the world. We have 30 million Indians living outside India, out of which 18 million are still Indian passport holders, and the rest of them are maybe in the US or others, where they have obtained nationality of that particular country. And the idea again here is, if you see, we also form a very upper middle class layers of in these countries where we go. Our income level and education levels in these countries where we go are very high, and the crime rate is very low. Wherever you see Indians outside India, the crime rate in the Indian community is very low, and the dependence on social welfare is also very low. If you see Google today, Google is headed by Sundar Pichai, who is an Indian, who has the first generation. He is just went from India. He was graduated in India, and he went to US for post graduation. And so is Satya Nadella, the head of CEO of Microsoft. He is again a first generation. He finished his graduation in India, and he has gone to US for his post graduation and became a part of Microsoft. There are n number of examples, but I would like to only point a few to save some time. And also, if you see the sources of income, the Indians outside India remit more than 70 billion US dollars, which is a huge source of income for India. Again, we not only seek foreign direct investments, Indian companies also invest in countries around the world. Today, we are the third largest source of foreign direct investment in UK, generating more than like 9,000 jobs there. If you know the brand Jaguar, Land Rover, and Range Rover, it is now owned by an Indian company called Tata. Indian companies and Indian investments are growing around the world. This is another very important information for management students. India is a hub for frugal innovation. Though we have advanced in many areas in science and technology, but the most important thing is we do it at 1/10 of the cost of what it could be done in a Western country. We had a very successful mission, space mission to Mars and Moon, and both were successful. That is the second important information. But the first important information is we could do it at 1/10 of the cost of the Western space agencies. For countries like Guatemala, developing countries like Guatemala and any other country, this is a great model because we are able to come up with innovations which are cost effective. Again, India, because I said we have very good skilled manpower, India is a hub for R&D. If you see, there are more than 750 multinational corporations have their R&D centers in India. We also have like 150 R&D service providers in India, which employ like more than 100,000 scientists. It's again, India is a hub for R&D. So now I will go to the technology story, of what makes India a technological prowess. So if you see, India is today a member of the G20, which is the most, probably after G7, the most important group of countries. And again, as I said, we are the largest democracy. We have a labor force of 500 million, and 65% of our population is of the age of below 35. And we are the largest economy, third largest economy with respect to purchasing power parity. But if you see, we are the fastest growing large economy in the world. We have a very large pool of trained manpower. Our e-commerce industry, again, when you are talking about digital and technological prowess, our e-commerce industry itself is worth 100 billion US dollars. This is primarily, apart from the enterprising nature of the Indians, it's also because the government has come up with a lot of initiatives which are called the Make in India, Digital India, and Skill India, which is powering the economy and which is also pushing and driving the digital economy in India. Again, just to give you a few snippets, in India's services industry contributes more than 50% of our GDP. But in the services, IT and IT enabled services are the major part of it, and it really contributes for our export promotion. If you see these are in different business verticals. It's not only purely IT but also business process management, and our revenue from this is growing at 7.7% a year. And Indian industry has reached like 191 billion US dollars, like in the IT and ITES area in the financial year 2021, and it is estimated to grow to US dollar 350 billion by the year 2025. So these are all very important information. We have around 4.5 million people who are employed in IT and ITES industry, and we have 40,000 IT and ITES companies in India, and we have like our IT parks or the specialized areas of information technology centers are spread over an area of 1.54 million acres. So it is a huge part of India's development story. Again, why is it such a big advantage? Why could India, how could India leapfrog and come to this position? Is because we are not only catering IT solutions, but we are going into IT products, and from small companies around the world to Fortune 500 companies. We work with all the verticals in artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, embedded technology, and software development. And Government of India has been constantly pushing the industry and the people to use this digital drive to prosper themselves. And we by 2022 we are expecting that we will have a 2 million direct employment and 7.6 million of indirect hires. That is the employment generation we are looking at from this IT industry. And if you see startups, India is ranked the third, and we have 9,300 technology startups in India as of 2019. Again, I would strongly suggest that it is because of the government policies that we have such a good ecosystem. And again, Indian IT industry has been able to prosper in the West primarily because we have been adhering to global standards. And the India's software and parks and technology parks has also helped. You must be knowing the company called Freshworks, which last month went public in US. It was a $1 billion. It went for public. It is a very small Indian company which has grown in the last 10 years to be in the SaaS area, software as a service area, and which has gone public with a $1 billion industry. And I'll go to the next slide. Again, as I said, we not only work in IT services, but in India, business process management is another vertical which has really gained prominence. And software products and engineering services are also, gaining prominence. But here I would like to point out the hardware part, where the government has been constantly pushing the industry to invest in chip manufacturing, in mobile manufacturing, and also in hardware manufacturing, where we are slowly gaining prominence. Again, to give a broad idea about this slide, the market, our main market is through IT services, information technology services, and the second vertical which has been providing business is through business process management, which is basically the outsourcing industry, which India is also considered as a back office of several multinational companies. You wouldn't believe the accounting of Walmart in Guatemala happens from Bangalore in India. So that is the kind of network India has created to be itself as a back office of the large companies of the world. And software products and engineering services again is booming, and we have been doing quite well in it. And as I said, hardware is something that is evolving now, and the government has been concentrating in it with a lot of focus on chip manufacturing and electronics manufacturing. So as I was saying, a lot of government initiatives has helped India to promote digital technologies. So one of the major idea is to make India a cashless economy. So like we have the Visa card, Mastercard, India has developed its own payment gateway systems called the RuPay, BIM. So many systems we have within India, which is all a local innovation and which India has been doing it through its own companies in India. So India's railway network is one of the largest. Indian railway employs 10 million people, and the whole of the railway industry is now automated, and you can just with the click of a button from your mobile you can book tickets, and all this is integrated and driven by government policies. Again, the Digital India is a fabulous program that was initiated by India. And what happened is we just had two factories in India in 2014 which were manufacturing mobile phones. Now we have in 20 as of 2020 we have 200 factories in India which are manufacturing mobile phones. Samsung has the largest manufacturing unit in India, and all our domestic requirements for mobile phones are met through our local manufacturing only. Again, as I said, India's IT companies have grown in all verticals and has become an innovation hub and a research hub. So if and also this is while the enterprising nature of Indians and Indian companies have helped promote this. Indian government has also focused enormously on this sector, and it has made IT as one of the 12 champion service sectors, and they have been all the policies of the government of India has been focused on promoting this sector. This is a very important slide I would like to share with you. Of late, India's startup program and innovation program is revolving around fintech, which is also called financial technology, because banking services has a very limited usage. When these are banking services are focused on urban centers, but if you have to focus on the entire population, fintech is the emerging concept in the financial industry. So fintech in India has enormously helped. We, as on date, we have around more than 2,000 fintech startups in India, primarily from the cities of Bangalore and Mumbai, but also in many other cities. So these technological solutions, it provides access to finance for small and medium enterprises and in rural areas where people don't have access to banks. This has not only helped evolve and drive the technology industry, but has also supplemented and complemented the small and medium scale industry, the small businesses that are growing in rural areas. So fintech in India has really complemented the growth of rural areas. As I said, we have more than 2,000 startups only focused on fintech. If you take fintech alone, we have a lot of verticals again in fintech, but the most important part are payment related verticals. But lending has also been very important because this is unconventional lending based on artificial intelligence. This is normally if you go to a bank for lending purposes, if you want to take a loan from a bank, you have to have a collateral. But these fintech apparatuses, they use artificial intelligence to evaluate a person's credit worthiness, and this has helped really a lot for access to credit in rural areas and for small businesses which don't have that, which can't do the documentation for collaterals and other required documentation that are used in banks. But also the other areas are wealth, personal finance management, insurance, and also cyber security. These are also the areas where our Indian fintech companies are prospering. And this is a very important slide I would like to share. So what we did three things so that the digital transformation in India can reach the common man. One is called the Aadhaar card, which is an universal identity card, which is based on digital technology. And second is, giving a bank account or an account, financial account, to all the people in India. So, if people don't have an account, the banks were given a directive to give them an account without any money in it. It will have zero balance, but banks were directed that they have to give an account, they have to open an account for everyone in India, every adult in India. And third is, because of the cheap data, or I won't say cheap, I would say affordable data. Everyone, the mobile penetration became so huge in India. We have more than 600 million smartphone users in India. So these three became a great combination, where the universal identity card, which is again a digital card, along with a bank account for everyone and a mobile for every adult, helped government policies to reach the people directly without any intermediaries. So in case, for example, if a government wants to support a farmer during a time when there is a flood, they don't have to go to several levels. Through the mobile phones, they can directly give the benefits to the farmers in form of a grant or a loan, or so these were so accessible, immediately accessible for people. Apart from that, so many policies of government and several initiatives of government, say for example farmer scheme, what they should plant during what season, when they should take care of their crops, and what kind of fertilizers they have to use. All this, there are several apps. I'm just giving an example only with the farmers, but there are several examples for small scale industry. How can they access small loans? How for large scale industry, how can they access technology? So all this was brought into the platforms of mobile, which was supported by the universal identity card, and also because of the bank accounts that were open for everyone. So this enormously helped the people, the common man, to have direct access from bank without the middlemen. So the people don't have to go to any offices to claim their benefits, but we're getting in the mobile phones what their balance is, what the government is doing to help them. So these technological interventions actually broke the barriers and brought a direct contact between the government and the common man. So this is one of the greatest achievements of India's technological progress. And apart from the industry itself, today the technology in India, the digital technology in India is in the hands of the common man. Literally, when I say hands, it is in the hands, because most of the adults in India carry a smartphone through which the technology is delivered through various government policies and government initiatives. So this is my last slide, and I'm open to take any questions. And thank you very much. I had used half an hour of my time, and if there is any questions, I will be more than happy to answer.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for your time and this interesting conference. We do have questions from the audience, and I would like to make it to you and translate it into Spanish. In Spanish, it is, bueno, gracias, señor embajador de India, P.S. Mubarak, por esta interesante charla para que veamos la transformación digital y tecnológica de India. Tenemos algunas preguntas de nuestra audiencia, las voy a hacer en español y en inglés también. ¿Qué semejanzas ve con Guatemala y qué consejos nos pudiese compartir para promover un cambio tecnológico como el que India está atravesando? Mr. Ambassador, our audience would like to know what similarities do you see with Guatemala, India and Guatemala, and also we would like to know which advice could you share to promote a technological change like the one that India is going through?
That's a very, very important and pertinent question. Like I always, when I meet people in Guatemala, I used to say that there are a lot of similarities between a society like Guatemala and like that of India, because we all belong to the emerging economies. We have a lot of limitations as far as resources are concerned, and we cannot compare ourselves with West. We have to have our own technologies, our own solutions for our own problems. There are if you see the society as such, it is very similar. The social profile of people, the earning patterns of people, everything is very similar. But what I would like to say is the investment in education and investment in technology has really helped India.
Mhm.
India's engineering colleges, as I said, we have 10,000 engineering universities, and the lot of people who get into software development at a very young stage, coding, and then even if you, for example, he may be from the stream like economics or even in a stream like biology, but these people, as they are doing their education, also learn skills like software development, Java, or like whatever it is. Like they keep learning these kinds of software technologies in institutes in India, and finally this really helps them when they go to the job market. And another very important takeaway is, though every language has its own advantages and disadvantages, but India's English speaking skills of Indians has really helped Indians, because the primary market is in the US and the West, which all the software and everything is based on the English language. So if you two things is like, one is the education, and the second is the investment and skill development in IT, and third is English language. I'm sure that Spanish is a great language, but because of the business opportunities that are available with English, it's important that students also master this language along with IT skills. This will this uh, the as I said, more than 50% of our GDP comes from services. So this is primarily because of the investment India made in technology, in engineering colleges, engineering universities, and the IT skills that we developed since 90s, and also the English language.
That's very important. Like you say, we also promote that a lot. The investment that we should do in education, and as you say, technology as well. Um, we have another question as well. Tenemos otra pregunta y como vimos la respuesta del señor embajador, él lo que recomienda es promover la inversión en la educación, promover la inversión en la tecnología, justo como lo han hecho en India. Tenemos también otra pregunta de la audiencia y dice así: para los emprendimientos en Guatemala, ¿cómo pueden encontrar oportunidades con India para hacer crecer su negocio? We have another question, Mr. Ambassador, which is, for startups in Guatemala, how can they find opportunities with India to make their business growth?
Absolutely. See, we will be delighted. There are some institutional mechanisms and there are some, informal mechanisms. So institutional mechanisms is like the Embassy of India we have a Startup India. We have a campaign called Startup India. And not only we do this within the country, but we also do a lot of connection with countries outside India. Like we do a lot of events between India and Singapore, India and the US, and also with India and Vietnam. So we will be very glad if startups are interested to engage or learn from India. We will be very glad to support them. That is number one. Number two is, we are also interested in hosting talks between successful startups in India with the startups here in Guatemala. As I said, Freshworks, Mr. Girish Matrubudam, they just went to IPO in the US last month with a 1 billion US dollars. So if you say that there are 50 startups ready to listen to him, we can organize a lecture by Mr. Girish Mathur. He has an amazing series of lectures on how startups can succeed. In India, he has been doing a lot of interactions. And Zoho is another company which operates from a very small village in India by a person called Sridhar Vembu. And now a lot of companies in Guatemala and in Central America use Zoho for their business solutions. We can connect with them. We can have special workshops by people, maybe a 2-hour workshop, but still it will give them insights of how
Right.
India has succeeded in a startup ecosystem. We will be more than happy, but we need in a structured manner. If there are 50 startups ready to interact with Girish Mathrubodham or Sridhar Vembu or any other, like Paytm is another huge fintech company in India. So if anybody is interested, we will be more than happy to connect them with the Guatemalan startups so that they can share their experience.
Well, that's very good news. I think it's very good news for our Guatemalan audience. Básicamente, I'm going to translate what you were saying. Básicamente, pues el embajador B.S. Mubarak nos cuenta que hay oportunidades con la embajada de India en Guatemala para hacer conexiones. Si ustedes tienen pues startups, emprendimientos en donde quieren hacer conexiones o aprender, justo como lo estamos haciendo en este espacio, ¿verdad? Aprender de expertos para ver cómo lo han hecho ellos. Entonces, pues podemos hacerlo a través de la embajada. Entonces, ellos tienen programas que han lanzado al respecto y pues espacios como este nos permiten estas oportunidades. We have another question from the audience, which is, the way of India is very interesting. Which would be the first steps that Central America should follow to look for a model like India? I'm going to translate it. It's kind of similar the first one, but el modo de India es muy interesante. ¿Cuáles serían los primeros pasos que Centroamérica, ahora no Guatemala, Centroamérica debe seguir para buscar un modelo como India?
Yeah, so like as you said, this is similar to the first question. So today India is a space park. I did not elaborate it on during my presentation, but even in space technology, nuclear technology, again in research and development, IT industries, engineering related, medical related. So India, from when we were when we became independent in 1947, we were a very poor country. Today we are a 2.5 trillion economy, but primarily in the first few years, the whole focus of the India's investments were in education, health, and this is the first 30-40 years of investment is now giving benefits for India. So I think, and also another psyche about Indians is, I used to tell this to many of my colleagues here and also friends. Even a poorest of a poor Indian will think education for their children is an investment. So if they have say only $200, they will for in a month. If that is their earning, they will be ready to spend $100 on the education of their children. So this is also a psyche which has really helped Indians. So they will not go on holidays. They will not buy new fancy dress or everything. They will cut on everything, but they will not cut on the investments or their spending on education. So I think because for many countries we don't have resources, and education and knowledge is the only resource that we have. So when I see Guatemala, it's a very similar kind of an ecosystem that we have, and that is what is going to help. Like even as I say, very poor people in India, they will try to put their children. You can't see anybody who is out of school in India. So everyone will know that this is what is going to help my child come out of poverty. This is the one which is the education is the one which is going to liberate my children. So, and literally this has proved generations over generations. It has proved that if you are well educated, you will be out of this poverty. You can get good jobs. You can do your business, and you can really become as your status will become as equal as that of anybody in the society. And since we are a society which is merit oriented, so anybody can compete, and you can come. So this is again something which is which when I come to Central America and I observe here, it is this is what education is the key to success, and knowledge industry has been, because in one building India's the amount of revenue that they generate is unimaginable. Even a 100-acre of industrial park won't do that, but one building with an IT services can generate millions and millions of dollars as income. So so for countries like Guatemala, I think this is something very key. It is the IT industry, technology, and digital technology industries are going to be very key in the future.
We totally agree. Thank you, Mr. Ambassador.
Yeah.
We have another question from the audience, and it is, I would like to know your opinion about India's role in BRIC project. Also, I would like to know the way India is approaching the chip manufacturing world crisis. Thanks. I'm going to translate it in Spanish. Me gustaría conocer su opinión sobre el papel de India en el proyecto BRIC. Además, me gustaría saber la forma en que India está acercando o recibiendo la crisis mundial de manufactura. Gracias.
Just coming to BRICS, like all the BRICS countries are emerging economies. Apart from G7, next to the G7, the bloc that generates the world economy is the BRICS. Basically, the BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. So there are also projects that BRICS countries together jointly do around the world, and it is done through through our headquarters in New Delhi. There are a lot of projects. It depends on what proposals that they receive. I have myself been involved in several projects, but basically it depends on what kind of projects what kind of proposals they receive. It is many of the projects are also related to development and poverty alleviation and related stuff. And coming to manufacturing, like it is the global supply chain is closely linked to affordable manufacturing around the world. India is also trying to get into that loop of this global supply chain. Everything is related to even the Starbucks coffee that we drink in a coffee house. It sources from so many places. The straw comes from a particular place, the cup comes from a particular place. So for anybody to get into that manufacturing supply chain, it's very important that you are part of this supply chain. And I think it is also important. It is like if you can today, if we can afford a laptop, which was not possible like 20 years back, it is because there are hubs which are able to manufacture it at an affordable price. So I think every country now has this comparative advantage of manufacturing. So you have to get into that. We have to but Guatemala is a good example. You find Zacapa rum in Delhi. So that is again something, but we have to build on it. Instead of focusing on several other things like manufacturing a computer, you can focus on your strengths and you can buy computers at a very affordable price from outside and sell your products which are popular here. Like by the way, the cardamom from Guatemala is so popular in India. India is the largest importer of Guatemalan cardamom, and every spice in India we use cardamom. It is because you are specialized in cardamom, you can do cardamom, manufacture cardamom well, and export it around the world. But we have to do it in a better way, and of course, like knowledge industry will help you. You have a great, I will just give you an example. Like I was talking about my India's movie industry, and we dubbed the one of the Indian movies in Spanish in Guatemala through local resources, all local talent, and it was an amazing result. These are the opportunities that you have here. So if we can do, because Indian movies are watched around the world, if Guatemala can be a hub for that knowledge industry where it can be dubbed in Spanish, and you can put it in your you can put it in your satellite channels, or it can be in other platforms, OTT platforms and all, it is going to be a big hit. The quality of the dubbing we did is, it can't be even done in Europe, and sure, the prices were like 1/4 of what it could be done in Spain or anywhere else. So this is the strength that Guatemala has. You have to focus on your strengths, and that will really help the country.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. We are receiving also comments about the conference, like amazing to hear wonderful changes in India. Like Roxana said, Patricia Oliva says, amazing conference, a lot of knowledge. So thank you very much. We have another question for you. I think this is the last question that we have. And it's basically about us. What role do academic institutions like ESI play in promoting this type of change? In Spanish, ¿qué papel jugamos las instituciones académicas como ESI en la promoción de este tipo de cambios?
See, end of the day, like if a country like America is so resourceful, it is because of the entrepreneurship quality that they have. And these entrepreneurship qualities are encouraged by institutions like ESI. So, and you have a very unique model because you don't teach just students, freshers, but you teach people from the industry. So, I think you have a great role to promote entrepreneurship in the country, and with more entrepreneurs, there will be definitely more resources and more wealth in the country, which can then trickle down to several areas. So I think this is your what service. The service that you are doing is simply great, especially training people from the industry and making them better through knowledge that you impart on them. So I will definitely say that it's a great role that you play. I would like to add one more thing is we offer this high-tech scholarships. Just because of the pandemic, it's a pause that we have put. But otherwise, the Embassy of India offers like scholarships for Guatemalans to go to India and come. We offer training in business management, business technology, in artificial intelligence, IoTs, so many areas. It's all available in the net, but we are waiting for the pandemic to stop so that we can start it. The main important attraction is that we don't charge a penny to the student. From here, going in an aircraft to India, staying in a hotel in India, the course fees, and even they give a cultural tour of India, taking them to Taj Mahal and other places, exposing them to 21st century India. It is everything from point A, which is Guatemala City, again to point A, back to Guatemala City. All the expenses are borne by the government of India. To all the participants, I would like to say that it is an amazing opportunity to know India. Like I said, knowing India is very important in the 21st century because we have 18% of the world population is Indians. Every 1/6 of the person you see in the world is an Indian, and it's a huge market. It's a huge market, and anybody who aspires to become an international business person should understand India. So with that, I welcome you all for knowing this iTech scholarship program, and it is all available in our website and Facebook and other social media tools. We are now presently using e-iTech, which is through e-portals, and we are using it like an online courses. But soon we will start again the physical courses, which is a great opportunity to understand India, to understand the potential of India. I had seen a lot of people who went for high-tech courses to India come back and use their connection for business opportunities also, apart from the learnings that they have. So I would invite all the participants to know about it. And I once again thank ESI for giving this opportunity. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
No, thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for your time. I think that I would like to add that we are allies. So to all our participants, our audience, we would like you to contact if you have any doubts. I think we're receiving more questions, but we don't have any more time. But there on the screen, you can find the information about the Embassy of India in Guatemala. And let us remind you that ESI and the Embassy of India are working together for the startups and entrepreneurs that we have in our community. Muchas gracias al señor embajador de la India en Guatemala, V.S. Mubarak, por su tiempo y esta valiosa charla y esta valiosa información para nosotros, que de eso se trata este evento, ¿verdad? De recibir estas oportunidades, ideas para avanzar en nuestros negocios. Como les repetía, nosotros somos aliados estratégicos con la Embajada de India y pueden contactarnos a nosotros también si ustedes forman parte de nuestra comunidad para recibir pues toda esta información de las diferentes oportunidades, becas, etcétera, para su formación profesional. Thank you, Mr. Ambassador, again. Y continuamos con el programa. Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you.